Kimberly Olson here. Welcome back to another episode of The Goal Digger Girl. And today we're going to talk about signs of burnout and what to do about it. If you haven't experienced it yet, or you don't know, right? When we go through them, you might go, oh my gosh, I'll be able to label it. It's most likely something that will happen to you at some point. We actually are seeing a mass amount of businesses shutting down, especially solopreneurs or smaller companies. And a big part of that is because of burnout. They're just exhausted. And so my intention for doing this training was to educate you on it, but also help you to navigate it if you do go through burnout. Also, this is sponsored by a webinar that I did called How to Structure Your Stories and Slay Sales. So look below this video, it's on demand. You'll be able to get 8 types of stories to do every day with it. And you'll also get a guide on stories that sell and the full training. It's like an hour long, but it's going to change your life, seriously. So if you haven't caught that yet, look below this video, you'll see that there. And there might be other resources that we dropped as well, depending on where you're seeing this. So I want to share with you some of the signs of burnout and just share from personal experience that I have experienced burnout twice while running the Goal Digger Girl or Goal Digger Girl Co. as it's now called, 2 times. And the first time I was finding myself in fight or flight where it was before our conference. We did a conference and it ended up costing $400,000. We did $500,000 at the conference. So we did come out ahead. However, I didn't know that was going to be the result from it. So can you imagine $400,000 that you had to come up with? It wasn't like future expenses, and I was in this fight or flight. Like I just wanted to leave. I wanted to cancel. I wanted to run away. I wanted to hide. And then another time, let's see, depending on when you're listening to this, the summer of 2023, I started pulling away and just not as present with Goal Digger Girl. And I actually started another brand called Fempreneur Wealth. And I still have it as kind of like a testing type brand. I actually started it from scratch and wanted to build the email list from scratch and just see how long it took me to get to 6 figures, which I started averaging 6 figures by my 3rd full month. And so my point in sharing all that with you is I've been there. Okay. I've done some random things. I've done some things where I look back and I'm like, that was totally burnout. Now I can recognize it really quickly. And then I start to put some systems in place to get back on track. And so I'm going to share that with you as well. So the first thing is chronic exhaustion. So this comes when we just feel like if we just do more and more and more, then we'll get the result that we want. Or, the nature of running an online business is that you're never off. Right now, I did catch up on all of my messages this morning at the gym. By the time I got home, people had responded to me. So technically I could go in there, and I'm not going to, but I could go in there and message people. It just never ends. There's always another notification and another email. So the chronic exhaustion will come when you just always feel like physically and mentally depleted. So what I call this is decision fatigue. There's times when I'm just like, and thankfully I have an amazing team that works with me and I don't feel this way anymore. But in the past, I have experienced significant decision fatigue. Now what I do is anything personally in our personal life, I just have asked my husband to make the decisions. It's restaurants, movies, decisions. Of course, if it's like something about the girls, we of course co-parent them, but just those little things. Where do you want to eat? What do you think about this? I'm just like, whatever. You decide. And I'll tell you a really quick funny story. He planned, we went to Mexico, flew my mom in to watch the girls, and he planned the trip. I can't make this up. So we get there and I do a story. We have this like beautiful suite that we upgraded to, and I do a story and I put location Puerto Vallarta. And Scott's like, my buddy just texted me that how is Puerto Vallarta? He's like, we're in Cancun. Like we weren't even in, like, don't even ask. That just goes to show you what I mean by that. Like I just tell me where to be. Bring a bathing suit. What time do I have to be at the airport? Like that's it. That has helped me significantly because if I'm making all these decisions in the company and then I'm making all these decisions in a personal, it's just a lot. So, hopefully you have some kind of support system there. So watch out for chronic exhaustion. If that happens, obviously you need to realize that it's never going to be enough. So you have to put boundaries in place. So I don't work full-time hours. I sleep 9 hours a week, 9 hours a week. Yeah, right. Per night. True story. I exercise every day. I drink green juice. I take care of myself. We go to church every Sunday. We do family night. We do dinners around the table every night. Like I'm very focused when I'm with my family and with my family. And when I'm not, I'm not. So you get to control your schedule. And I remember looking at my calendar and I was working with a coach at the time. And she goes, I challenge you to get where you have no more than 15 Zooms or lives or whatever things on your calendar. And I remember tallying it up and it was like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way, like that could never happen. Right. And now I have less than that. So it's pretty cool when you start to take control. Okay. And get back in the driver's seat. The second thing is decreased motivation and passion. So as I told you, I just went off and started another brand because I have time for that. Right. Because I wasn't motivated about Goal Digger Girl or passionate about it for a second because I was so overwhelmed and so exhausted. And I just felt like I was alone. And I actually ended up letting some staff move on because they just weren't the right team for me. So I was finding myself just not happy, and so I had to just take a moment in my way. It was a little bit of a passive aggressive move. I wasn't able to articulate that to my team because I didn't know. And I had to make those tough decisions to let people go. And it was really difficult. And it was the best thing I did for them too, because obviously it's not helpful to work in an environment where you don't feel like you're crushing it, right? So if you have decreased motivation and passion, I want you to go back to why you're doing what you do. So you can see, we obviously do a lot here at Goal Digger. You can see there are times when I'm up till midnight working on something because I said I'd get it done and I just didn't find the time for it and it's due the next day. Like, how do you get yourself to that point? It's through the impact that I know I'm making. And I'm a person of my word. Integrity is my number one value. If I say I'm going to do it, I do it. Ask anybody. So sometimes that means really late at night, I'm staying up, but I'm passionate about what I do. I reminded myself, why do I do what I do? He has just put me in this position to speak into people more than they see for themselves. And he also helps me to be able to just see the business potentials. He just all the pieces. It's amazing. And because of that, I'm really passionate that I feel that this is my duty and my calling to do that for you. And I feel really proud of that when I show up. So what about you? Why are you doing what you're doing and what lights you up? You have to focus on that. The third thing is irritability and emotional overwhelm. So if you find yourself bursting into tears, you find yourself snapping at people, you find yourself getting short with people, especially your family often takes the brunt of it. It's a moment to step back and ask yourself, are you burned out? Are you overwhelmed? The best thing you can do for overwhelm is ask for help. And also is to do a massive brain dump where you just write down everything that you have to do. Just let it all out, write it out, and then ask yourself, what can you delegate? What can you dump? And what do you need to do? Okay. And then you prioritize that. Is there anything that we can push out? Is it really as urgent as it feels? And that will help you out a ton. Number 4 is decline in productivity and focus. This is another one I've also noticed where I literally have had times when I couldn't add, and I love math. I used to it's my favorite subject in school. I couldn't add just simple numbers together. And I'm like, okay, that's a sign for me. I know when I get to a point where I can't just make simple, being able to focus, really struggling with being productive, where you're just not even getting anything done. And you're just what's going on? So I know entrepreneurs, we feel like that every day, but you know what I mean? You actually feel like something's off. So if you are noticing a decline in productivity and focus, that could be a sign. And the final thing is neglecting self-care and personal needs. So this would be skipping workouts, not sleeping enough. This could be you're not taking care of yourself. So for me, when I get really there's a lot going on, I'll actually schedule a last minute massage. And it's not always convenient for my family, or I'll book an extra hot yoga class. And I'll just tell my husband, I need to do this for me. And he gets it now because he understands that I'm an empath. I deal with people, and I should say I work with people every single day. You guys know I'm in Messenger. I'm talking to hundreds of people at certain points. That's a lot for me because of being the empath that I am. So he knows that's what Kimberly needs. It's happy wife, happy life, right? He's a smart guy. Okay. So if you notice you're skipping workouts, you're not sleeping enough, then that means that you are in or heading into burnout. So you're going to want to reprioritize. You're going to want to reassess, because understand that there are times when people don't come back from burnout. They just get to a point. I saw this girl, she was doing multi-millions each year, and she took a whole year off as a content creator because she got so burned out and she just snapped. She's like, I'm done. And she took a whole year off. She's back now. And I thought that was almost me. I was to the point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. That's not true. You don't want to burn it down. Okay. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. What you need to do is figure out what is working, what isn't, and then get a new plan. Okay. We can put a new plan in place. We don't have to throw it all away. And trust me, you're not going to want to throw it all away because you most likely started it for a reason and you just lost sight of that. Okay. So as a reminder, we have that awesome webinar for you below, how to structure your stories and slay sales. You're going to love it. You can watch it right now on demand. And subscribe if you're listening to the podcast right now or watching this as a YouTube episode. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Take a screenshot of yourself watching this or listening. Throw it in your stories and tag me at the Goal Digger Girl. Love to give you a shout out for that. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Until next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire.